Every wholesaler I know is spending 3, 5, 10 grand a month on mail, cold calling, and paid ads just to compete with every other investor for the same off-market leads. And there's about 2,000 listings sitting on the MLS in Memphis right now that almost nobody's offering on because everybody just assumes if it's got an agent on it, there's no deal to be made for a wholesaler. That's actually not true, and that's what I want to show you in this video. I'm going to send 50 real offers to 50 listing agents live right now and then show you what actually comes back. So here's the basic idea. Instead of your team sitting there writing one offer at a time, this sends out 50 personalized offers at once, real emails and texts that go to each individual agent. And it's not just blasting every listing on the MLS. It's scoring all of them based on stuff like days on market, price drops, liens on the property, basically the same things you would pull off market, but you're pulling them on market. I'm Cam Ank. I've closed over 400 real estate transactions and I still run paid ads and I still have a team for cold calling. This isn't replacing any of that. It's just a channel sitting right next to it that basically everybody is ignoring. So let's actually do this. I've got Memphis pulled up. This is a live market we're buying in right now. I'm going to filter this down and send 50 offers live right now. All right, so now I'm in Acquireflow here. What I'm going to do is kind of walk you through our day-to-day process and how we use Acquireflow to get MLS deals under contract. So what I'm going to do here is pull up the deal finder section and kind of walk you through our filters. So before I go through the filters, I want to make it clear that we typically look at each market and understand who our buyer avatar is. So typically when we're wholesaling in Midwest markets where we're focused on Section 8 buyers or contract for deed investors. So with that in mind, we're going to kind of pull filters based on that criteria. So I know some users have connections to hedge funds that buy single family. So the criteria for that will be a little bit different. And then depending on the market, you might be solely focused on getting flippers to buy. So it really just depends. But for our use case, we typically are going after those Section 8 type of investors. One of our markets is Memphis, Tennessee. So I'm going to throw that in here, Memphis, Tennessee. And then for the price range, typically these investors in the Midwest, Southeast markets, they like to be under 200,000. So I'm just going to cap that there. Single family. And then everything else I'll keep off except your built. I'm going to put this at 2,000 just so we're not pulling in any new builds when we're pulling these listings. So for this campaign, the only motivation I'm really going to go after is days on market. But we do test quite a bit with campaigns where it's just cash flow, especially to Section 8 investors. Cash flow is one of the main things they're looking at when buying an investment. So I'm going to keep that off for this campaign, but you can also pull existing mortgage. Sometimes we'll send out sub-2 offers where we're pulling in mortgage data as well. And there's a bunch of other filters you can kind of go through here. But for this specific example, I'm just going to go days on market. And then I'm going to hide properties we've already made offers on. And then you can see here right now, there's 513 properties that fit our criteria. We've made quite a bit of offers in Memphis. So this number has went down quite a bit. But if you look under each listing, you're going to see a deal score. This deal score is typically going off of days on market, price point to ARV, cap rate, cash flow. It kind of factors in a bunch of different things into one to give you the high score. The higher the score, the better. So if we pull up one of these properties here, you'll be able to actually look at the photos. Once this loads, you'll be able to pull photos, financial analysis, any mortgage or liens on the property, and then also comparables on the property. So sometimes after we make offers and an agent gets back, we'll come back, look at the comparables in the market, make sure we're in line with the price point to sell to an investor. And then you can make offers on individual properties, but for this use case and typically our process is we make offers in bulk. What we found successful is to send 50 offers a day. I know some users will pull 500 listings and then set up a campaign where it drips it out over 7 days. But for us to be more engaged, we typically find that sending 50 offers a day, communicating with those agents, clearing it out, and then kind of repeating the process daily is what's worked best for us. So what I'm going to do here is click select all and then send bulk offer. And then you have different offer packages you can make. What we've found best for us is just to make a cash offer. And then if the agent comes back and says the price is too low due to a mortgage, we might come back with a sub-2 offer and see if they're interested in that, or we might make a seller finance offer on top of that. So really just depends, but you can directly send seller finance or sub-2 offers. But for our use case, we typically just stick with cash offers. Once you have that selected, you can select email, text, and then your actual offer percentage. In the Memphis market, we found that 60% is a good starting point to, one, keep the agent engaged where it's not too low of a price, but also low enough to get Section 8 investors interested where there's a little bit of equity and the cash flow makes sense. Kind of depends on the market, but for Memphis, we found that 60% works pretty well. And then once you have your percentage selected, you can send the offers immediately or you can drip them out. We found that dripping them out actually works best for us and our team. So we typically do 10 offers every 30 minutes until the campaign's complete. So once I have that selected, now you can see actually the email going to the agent as well as the text. The email and text, they can be changed depending if you're a wholesaler, flipper, etc. You can really play around with these and see what works best for you. This email we found works best for us. So once you click continue to review, you can attach a contract. So in the settings, you can upload your purchase and sale agreement, and then it will auto fill everything for that specific offer and attach a contract. We've found that it works best to send the email and text first, see if the agent engages, underwrite the deal, make sure everything makes sense, and then we send out the contract. So that's what we've seen work best for us. But I know some markets require you to actually to make a formal offer, you have to send their MLS agreement. So in that case, you can attach the contract and then you'll be good to go. Right now, I'm going to send the 37 offers and then we'll come back and look at the inbox and everything from there. All right, so now the campaign is created. You'll see here there's 4 batches for the 37 properties we sent out on. So what I'm going to do, or in general, what my team does is you can see the campaign here. We'll typically come in here, edit the campaign name to align with this example is Memphis cash offers, and then the date so we understand where we're currently at. And then you can also track the response rate. As you can see here, depending, I think this is a test one, but you'll see some of the offer campaigns are a little bit different. Like this one was a 72% response rate, where this one was 11%, and this one was 14 and 28%. So some of these really just depend on your offer type, your percentage, and also just in general, what agents you're sending it to. But typically we're seeing anywhere from 20 to 40% response rate from agents, depending if you have emails and texts or not. So after looking at the campaign management, what you'll do in here is you'll see the inbox where you can actually email, text, and call the agents directly through here. And as responses come in, we'll reply here and negotiate with the agent. So that's typically what our workflow looks like as far as Acquireflow. Besides the cost of the software, you're really just paying for text, which are fairly cheap, and then the emails are free. So as far as the cost per contract, we found that this is a super cheap method compared to off-market stuff that actually coincides and benefits on the both sides. So it just lowers our cost per contract in general between off-market and on-market stuff. As far as Acquireflow, this is really what I wanted to show. I'm going to do a further video on breaking down some of the KPI, how we actually negotiate with agents, and how we actually respond from there. Yeah. All right, we're back here a couple hours later. As you can see, one of our offers we sent out earlier, the agent's willing to accept their offer at $92,940. So we plan on getting the contract out later and getting this locked up. But as you can see here, the property is a 2-1, 1,500 square feet, was listed for $149, and it's been on the market for 332 days. It's really not in bad shape at all at this price point for $92K. So we plan on selling it to a Section 8 investor. And if you look on investor base for buyer data, you can see in a 1 mile zip code that flippers are paying $85,000 and landlords are paying $118. So we're kind of right in the price point we need to be to dispo this deal. And honestly, this is where most people get bulk offers wrong. They think it's just about send more, get more. But if 50 offers on random listings, you get 50 rejections and you look like spam to every single agent in that market. The whole thing only works because it's not random. And that's how Acquireflow works. That's what actually runs for me in every single market that I'm involved in, besides off-market acquisition strategies. If you want to set this up for your market, links below, I'll walk you through it myself. And if this was useful, send it to somebody who's still writing these one at a time. All right, that's it. Later.